made your coffee. Oh, how do you like it? I like it. My coffee. I like my men. And she like puts it on the couch and then opens up a Red Bull. She's like, yeah, you liked. Oh no, it's gonna give it to me. Oh, it hits the spot like you can't.
God,
spits in his mouth and then the cup. It's great.
Nice.
All right, let's get this going.
Yeah.
Better to come in the sink than to sink in the cum.
Facts.
Welcome fucking back. Oh man.
Hey guys. Welcome to the Hype Attack Podcast,
Where we weigh in on the latest in nerd and pop culture hype.
We are there.
We're the excited conversation we all have with our friends.
about the nerdy things we love.
And geek about.
We are
The Hype Attack. I am the hype!
Rudy's in my mind. Stop swallowing.
Whole.
That was that one. You got it. There you go.
You have to.
You have to. You gotta eat the mic.
What's up, everybody? Jermaine here. Welcome back to the Hype Attack. As always, I'm here with Doug, Isaac, and Rudy.
Hi.
Hello.
What's up? Konnichiwa.
Well,
On today's episode, we're going to talk about the Bob movie. No, the Thunderbolt.
Thunderbolts.
No.
Thunder.
The new Avengers.
Great start.
But yes, we're going to talk about them Thunderbolts.
spoilers. All the spoilers. We're not holding back.
Yeah, all the good stuff.
Talking about everything.
So if you haven't watched it, you've been warned.
Fucking stupids.
Yeah, well, by the time this comes to air, it should be at least a month. So
Yeah.
I think the internet's pretty much decided on 3 days.
yeah.
That seems to be about it.
The Thunderbolts themselves were like, okay, it's been a week, and then this is what the asterisk reveals.
Yeah.
The new Avengers.
Was it a week?
It was a week. It was
Like,
just
I
a
saw
week.
the video of that. I'm like, how long did they wait for that shit?
Just a fucking week. I don't. It's just a name. Thoughts? How have you guys been? I haven't seen you. Well, we haven't recorded in about a month. Some people went to Japan.
Oh, that was
nice.
That was a hell of a rest.
Yeah, I forgot how this works. What are we doing? What's going on?
Don't have
That
to
was
remind.
like we got back and we still took another week off. No one said anything. I'm like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna
no,
push it because
no,
I would like some sleep.
No,
Oh, no, I knew
figured as
everybody
much.
was going to be ready to come
Yeah.
back, especially that first week back, even the second week.
I actually still broke in and sat in this chair, just waiting and waiting and waiting. But no one came except me. All your chairs. So you're
Oh no,
welcome.
I was watching you from the window.
Not a smell funny.
It's like he doesn't know I'm
Change
watching.
my
There's
diet.
like 4 cameras in here. You think I'm not moderating every single one of them?
Hey,
come on
I know.
now.
I know
Oh
how that
shit!
thing
You
works.
watch this room? Oh, I am sorry. I am the things you've seen, sir.
The black men material I have. Schooled up.
Is that we all knew.
Yeah. 46 hours a week of me crying.
He stopped. It's gonna get hard.
Your Honor,
Yeah, that's
Your
what-
Honor, that's not me. That's AI.
Yeah, that's what I sell. It makes
Wasn't
good
me.
money. Oh, all right, Thunderbolts. Give it a good old classic. It was really good.
It was really good.
really
but I want to
good.
ask you guys, just right off the top, is Marvel back? It's the question's been going around.
that's what Bob Iger, right? Disney guy.
Is he still in charge right now?
Bob, Richard,
Yeah,
Sentry, whatever his name is.
yeah.
So, yeah.
You're the Bobs.
He said this is the first showing of their new switch to more quality and less quantity.
But we've heard that before, though.
Yeah, I feel like if this didn't do well, he would have just said like, no, this is the old one. Like, right, because we're still on the cuff. In a way, I do feel like Marvel is back because Brave New World was okay, but it felt again part of the Marvel universe that we know, and then this kind of connected directly in that indirect shared universe way, and then
Because they already mentioned the president
Yeah.
immediately in this movie.
yes, and the Red Hulk and everything, yeah. And then, of course, the post credits ended with the Fantastic Four, which we know is coming out this year, right? It wasn't a post credits that alluded to something that may or may not be coming. You never know. So we definitely got like this 3-movie connection. So it's like, okay, MCU is back, just because we at least have 3 movies that are connecting.
Yeah. like
in some way.
Speaking of those mid credit and after credit, like that's how those were supposed to be used.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? An actual, this is the next thing, not like we may have something cooking up. It's like just
Shang-Chi.
Yeah, it's so sad.
That's the worst one.
The
'Cause
whole
that actually-
idea of like, let's throw something out there and see what works. I'm like,
yeah.
you guys
I'm done with that.
are a multi, I don't know, $billion studio, with one of probably the, I don't know what you want to say, like how big Marvel is, like how many people, like know what, these Marvel characters are. But
Just the stable they have, the lore to fall back on.
for you to throw things out there and like kind of see what sticks on the wall, especially being owned by Disney, you guys should not have been doing that in the first place.
Which is why this movie felt so nice. Now, like, I probably if I sit with it long enough and I maybe like go back to the first, the first phase, and again, I don't know what phase we're in, who gives a shit, but like
This was the final film of the 5th phase.
we're in the 5th.
Yeah. Well, we're the 6th now after this one.
We're in the end game now.
Those first lineup of movies, like those felt really nice. It was cinema that happened to have superheroes and shit like that in it. Like it was, all the things. Like it looked great, it felt great. The stories were wonderful, and nobody went over the top with all the fucking humor and shit like that. And like this felt like it took its breath and it felt intentional compared to the last 5 years worth of movies. And I know we've said in various Hypertech episodes where we're like, well, I mean, I see people are bitching about it, but I enjoyed it because we have seen really bad movies, so there's that to compare to. But like, I think it's a fucking fantastic movie, But again, I don't know. I haven't gone back and seen the first lineup and. Just compare it to that.
Yeah. Saying
Not that
that
it
though,
needs to
there
compare.
has been some good movies, even ones that people shat on. I still think The Marvels was a fun movie. They don't all need to fall under this same category, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the beauty of having this larger universe, and especially when they were pumping out a bunch of stuff, like they don't all need to be the same. So things can be good in their own way and not comparatively, not to switch too much to a different universe, but like Star Wars, like Andor is a good example. Like Andor is amazing, fucking amazing, this new season and the first season. But like not all of Star Wars needs to be that, right? Which means not all Star Wars is going to be the same, hit the same, because they don't all need to be the same kind of thing. So Thunderbolts was really, really good for what it was. But it's like, I don't necessarily want all of Marvel to be that. So, which I think, not to badmouth fans, but I feel like some people have a hard time with that idea of like, some movies are going to be different, some characters are going to be different. Like, and any comic book reader like knows that too. Like every comic kind of has its own feel and its own motif and the way they do things. So, to your point, those early Marvel movies were really good because I think they were just focused on making good movies, and then they got focused on making shared universe stuff. And going back and forth between funny and not funny and this and that. And I don't know. I still hope that all the different movies have a voice of their own, but are held to the quality that they put this one to.
So
I said a lot of nothing in that long rant.
Welcome to the Hypertag.
I do like the movie, solid, but my only not like issues, but like kind of, I don't know, gripe or whatever. It's just hard for me, like when they mention in the movie that the Avengers are coming. You know what I'm saying?
I wanted to talk about that. I'll let you finish the point.
We know why the Avengers are coming. Because in
Edging this whole time.
Sorry.
I was trying not to.
They
God damn you.
They pretty much dismantled, the whole crew and everything, because Cap's gone and whatever. Some people are off world and all that stuff, which I do understand because there are heroes here on Earth and they can handle certain things but it's just kind of hard to hear like the Avengers aren't coming, and then for them to say that out loud, because it is a shared universe. I guess one of those things that we've talked about, especially when characters get their own solo movie, you're like, where's everybody else? Because you guys were helping. But I get that they're trying to build something or build on top of something, so they're going somewhere now. So that I accept. But then when I have an Isaac moment right now.
Lost train.
Hey, fairness, I haven't had that in a while.
Yeah.
Real quick, red light.
Rubbed off on you guys.
We're recording.
Oh, recording.
Okay, it's been a while. I just wanted to. It dawned on me, and I had a nightmare moment.
Motherfucker. You.
Yeah.
I hate when you do that. It gets my lights are on.
Okay. Sorry. Anyway.
No, but I really forgot my second.
All right. I'll take it.
Alcohol beverages.
Yeah. So I guess contrary to you, I actually enjoyed that they mentioned that, because we have had this long moment since Endgame, since the event. We've seen the actual Avengers, and I don't know. I guess it was nice to almost hear a recognition
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
in world of like the Avengers aren't coming, and so that brought me to the point where it's like I think all of us would have loved to have seen this movie earlier, because it has been such a miss for MCU. But I think that it worked, it being so long. Though it does make me question. It's like no major threat has hit the MCU this whole time. Like it's like, oh, villains waited.
Yeah.
Villains waited. But
But
anyway,
it's with
to your
that
point.
thing. So it's with one of the end credit scenes, how they were saying, like, quote unquote, even though what's her name in the movie?
Elena?
Yeah, the Seinfeld chick.
Oh,
Valerie?
DeFontaine. Yeah, Valerie.
Yeah. So when she just blurted out, like, oh, these are the new Avengers. But then you have them saying in one of the end credit scenes, that
Valentina.
Valentina, there you
the new Captain America,
Yeah.
he's saying, no, you guys aren't. And it's just,
Yeah, because in Brave New World, he was tasked with reforming the Avengers, right?
yeah.
So it's I'm very interested to see who they're gonna have this new Avengers with the S. who this new team is gonna be, and if they're gonna be the official Avengers. But my second part to that was to add a little bit to what Doug said, that you do feel like yes, this movie should have been a couple years back, because while I'm watching this movie, one, it doesn't seem like it's a forced movie. Yeah, they have a bunch of characters, and they were all going to this one location, and they were gonna get fragged because they knew things that they wanted to eliminate. So with that said, like, I just wish we would have had like maybe another movie before this.
Yeah.
Because it would have just felt, for me, a little bit more natural. But like I said, the movie didn't feel forced in any way. It was a solid movie. But it was also one of those things, too, of who they were up against, Sentry. And I was like, how the heck is this crew going to take on him if he's supposed to be the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Marvel Comics, whatever, equivalent to Superman. But the way that they executed, I was like, okay, that makes sense. I was like, there was no way they were going to be able to handle him. Like,
I knew nothing about Sentry other than just how his card worked in Marvel Snap, the collectible card game, the mobile digital collectible card
Sponsor
game.
us, Marvel Snap.
Yeah, I could message Ben and have him sponsor us. But really interesting character. I really liked the character. I thought it was interesting. And then I kind of read up a little bit about him, how when they introduced him, they pretended that he was a lost Stan Lee creation. And like they got everyone to go on board with it. Everyone just pretended like he was a lost Stan Lee Golden Age creation, and when they introduced him into the comics, like he remembered everyone, but no one else remembered him, and like they just played this whole part about him being this lost character. And I thought that was like kind of a cool, unique entrance, and then. Yeah, the way they with the Void and Sentry and everything like that, I thought they did a pretty good job.
Before we step away from like the different Avengers, I just want to know. I want to know who Matt Murdock and who She-Hulk are going to represent, and I need that showdown. Even if it's like an after credits or something like that. Really, who would represent who? I think Murdock would represent Sam
I know
Wilson's
in
Avengers.
the comics, didn't they end up with like a West Coast Avengers or something like that? I know Justice League did that shit, but. But I'm pretty sure they've split up the Avengers before in the comics, so I'm sure we'll see a Young Avengers and a New Avengers and something else like
Dark Avengers and then Avengers West Coast.
yeah, which is fun, and it's gonna add a fun like B plot to Doomsday, right? Like Doctor Doom's gonna show up, and then it's gonna be like the Avengers. No, we're the Avengers. It's gonna be stupid humor or whatever, but it'll be fun.
A moment of levity in the big grand fights that they're promising.
That's so curious.
Or they're setting up.
I like that idea though. Like they probably really should have had a movie before this, because what's her name, Valentina? She's been kind of running around. Like she was kind of the new Fury for some of the movies, which again, where MCU's big misstep is they kind of did things and then didn't do things or whatever. But it would have been interesting to have a movie of maybe someone investigating her or something.
The way they came about her character, because she's been popping up in things. She seemed a lot more competent than she did like in this movie. This movie, she seemed a little bit more like seat of the pants, kind of on top of things, but still not really.
Yeah, those
And
first
then-
appearances. Yeah.
She seemed a lot more, that I guess that Nick Fury kind of competence. Like, I'm in control. Like I know what's going on. And like this movie,
like
kind of set her up.
like headstrong, and I'm gonna do what it takes. But now, like she was like walking on eggshells.
Yeah, and especially the ending where they trip into the new Avengers. Like it's like, oh, okay.
In fairness to, I guess, the writers, though, Sentry was new. Sentry was a surprise, right? So they were trying to create that, but they didn't think they did, and so Sentry kind of popped up out of nowhere. So maybe she was just in over her head, and then at that point was flying by the seat of her pants because it was a whole new realm.
Flying by the seat of her pants, but she was confident. Like any move she was making, she didn't really doubt it. Like she knew how to roll with the punches, whatever the fuck happened.
Yeah, even the end when she announced him as the new Avengers, that was
smooth.
clearly saving her ass.
Yeah.
But she knew what it would take.
Yes, I will give her that. She
didn't buckle.
she knew how to play it off when she was faced with something. Like if something was like right there in her face, she knew how to play it off. But once that threat left, you saw like a different side of her, which she played it pretty well.
I hope we get to explore her a little more. And as far as like the characters, so the things that I had read up upon was originally what their intentions were as far as like the focus on the characters, because a lot of people were like, I don't know, I felt like we didn't see a lot of everyone else's backstory, which I think that was actually treated well in this movie. I think it was a nice balance because there are some characters like Ghost that people forgot about so long ago that didn't have that much of an importance in the movie.
She got ghosted.
Ha 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 ha. And so like I liked where they focus. I mean, because otherwise the suffer room, what they call it, whatever, like the suffer room, the void rooms, those would have been a very extended scene. It would have been convoluted if we got to see Bucky's room and Ghost's room and so on and so forth. And I like the way that it was treated, where you got a glimpse of it with Bob just kind of, making contact with people, getting a little glimpse of their backstory, not spending too much time on it. So it's sprinkled here and there. The other thing that I heard was the original plan was a whole different thing with Taskmaster.
Yeah.
Did you hear about this?
I knew that there was planned, like there was another story with more of her.
So Taskmaster was actually going to have a more integral part of the story, and her the running gag was going to be that she was going to continue to lose her memory. So she'll, we're all friends, and then she's going to remember that she's actually supposed to kill. What the hell is his name? Oh my God, White Russell's character.
U.S. agent or Walker. Yeah.
Walker. So that was her original thing, which I'm glad that they didn't do because it allowed them to focus on Bob, the new character, and the team leader, Yelena, and a couple of other little emotional beats. And speaking of Walker, like he is a really interesting character as far as being like a piece of shit asshole that you could fixate on. Like Bucky, let's not focus on him because he's had his time, especially in the series. You know what I'm saying? Like we spent time with him.
Yeah, I still. Sorry to interrupt real quick.
Yeah.
I still feel like they need to figure out what they want to do with Bucky.
Good point.
They did the story, and Sam ended up with the shield, and like it fell for a while. Like they were really considering giving him the shield, and then they didn't, and now they're kind of heavily leaning back on like he did some bad stuff, but he's a senator. Like it's like the weird both. Like he's a senator, but they also are leaning on like he did some shitty things in the past, and we can't trust him. It's like, well, he's a senator,
and I don't disagree with you. I just don't think this is a movie to explore that. You know what I mean? So the way that all the time and energy was spent was felt really nice. There wasn't a moment where I was like, oh man, I wish I saw a little more of this or a little less of that. So going back to Taskmaster, big spoiler alert, is I'm happy that they used her the way that they used her, similar to Slipknot in the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Which is like, these are bad guys. Let's show that they can do some bad things. And I don't know, like if you guys remember like my reaction when she got shot point blank was
shocking.
Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Set the tone.
The whole time I was waiting for her to pop back up, like hot psych, and like no, just hole in the head on the ground. I'm like, okay, this is serious then.
I was kind of glad because maybe that's Marvel's way to say now we can bring in the real Taskmaster, but in a sense, like it was just my mind was just working that way.
I was gonna say,
and then this DEI shit.
Taskmaster clean. No. I was gonna say Taskmaster's like the whole like learns all the Avengers attacks. Like that should be like a very serious villain.
Yeah.
Very serious. So to your point, yeah, like maybe like because Taskmaster was never treated as that very serious villain that he or she could be. So yeah, quick pop in the head, and that was cool. I know Ghost is going invisible and showing back, but I love any sort of blink or like quick, and when it's used right, like it's such a cool power visually.
That intro battle with everybody,
Beautiful.
Which to add, to what Isaac said, like it just, yes, we wish there was another movie before, I don't know, some little mini series or whatever, but what they gave you with their backstories, like they give you just enough information, say, oh, you guys were, or we were all working, we were all doing something, like you got the information that you needed, and you didn't need to like have flashbacks or anything, no, because you saw Black Widow's sister. What's her name again?
Black Widow. No, oh my God, what is her name?
Yelena.
Scarlett Johansson.
No.
Natasha Romanoff?
Florence.
Or are you talking about Yelena? Florence Pugh. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
Because they are technically all Black Widows.
Yeah. But
he did say Yelena.
Yeah, but just seeing her, like her intro of the movie and seeing what she was going through, and then when everybody meets up, yes, you find out that it was a setup, but you find out that we were all working for the same person, so therefore everybody was doing the same thing, so you didn't really need to kind of show her off and then show him off, doing something. Like it's like they just feed you enough stuff that you as the movie watcher, you put everything together, and you're like, okay, well now this is a setup because now they're trying to erase everybody because they're the
loose ends. Yeah,
they're the loose ends. So it made sense. But that battle, everything in there, even with Taskmaster, like the way she was using that shield and everything, just bouncing off the ground, catching it again, I was like, yeah, we need more of this.
Quick question then. Then was everyone else thinking of bouncing out? Or were they just loose ends that Valentina's like, no, I got to kill them all?
They're probably just loose ends. I doubt Walker was thinking about.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just loose ends because most of them showed up ready to go.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. And Florence Pugh is an amazing actress. I think going back to the Taskmaster point and everything else, it's like part of me is assuming that they were just like, yeah, we need to focus on her character because she knows how to do this.
And that being said, like, credit to the director, what's his name, Jack Schreier. Like, he got like beautiful performances out of everyone, knew how to use everybody, even if it was kind of figured out in the final cut. But like, everyone's a fantastic actor, but if you've seen other Florence Pugh's work, it's like, yeah, of course, let's put a lot of emotional focus on her. Well, it's perfectly used, and everyone else, it's like maybe not as great. It's kind of throw them around the background a little bit.
Quick little side note: they're looking at this director, quote unquote, possibly to direct the X-Men movie. But that's just a little quick.
Okay.
Little
Yeah,
side
I'll
note
take
thing,
it.
but-
Plus, with Florence Pugh's character, Yelena, she's also like kind of a replacement for Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. I know Walker is kind of a replacement for Captain America, but not really. Like that was kind of the story, was he was supposed to be, but not really.
I love the slams that they put on him.
Yeah.
It was harsh.
Yeah. But also, I mean, his character was so much more, not necessarily likable compared to the Winter Soldier, Falcon and Winter Soldier series, but I think just much better written.
Yeah.
Oh, compared to this when he was in the series.
Yeah.
Well, it's like more time. Again, like that's why I like that they've, second and third focused on him a little compared to all the other characters, because it was interesting enough. And yeah, he did all the bad stuff. Then it's like now you're kind of feeling the ramifications of all that without having to go too heavy in a flashback or anything like that. Yeah. Earlier, I was gonna say, when we talked about like the way that they kind of set up people's backstories with shit that wasn't so obvious, like that was a problem with Captain America: Brave New World. It was forced one-liners, things that were so unnatural to say. Like everything in this and how they presented information from connecting another movie or whatever it is felt organic, just absolutely organic.
It did feel organic, but because they have so much information out there, from so many shows now and so many movies, like I felt like they had a lot more stuff to pull from, which I'm hoping that they go forward with this new direction of, like how we say, we got, or we're gonna get 3 movies, and it feels like everything is like legit tied together, connected, and these characters are going to move forward. Unlike some other characters, Shang-Chi.
He's getting a second movie.
Yeah, he's getting a second movie.
2029.
But how long? Compared to what we were getting in the first, arc of everything. You were getting your movies, but like I said, I hope with them moving forward that we do kind of feel like we've all talked about many times, like they're actually going in a direction, and you could see where that arrow is going, rather than it necessarily be like a scatter fire. It's
going towards Doom.
Speaking of Doom, was his name on the chairs?
RDJ?
Sam Liu? Shang-Chi?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
It was? Okay.
I think, yeah.
Okay, good. I was going to say, like,
Simu?
Jesus.
What?
I was going back to the movie.
Simu Liao or something.
Oh, look.
Yeah.
He, to your point,
he is going to be in there.
That character in that movie was well received.
Oh, yeah.
The character was well received. They did a post credit that hinted at something where they even brought in Mark Ruffalo and Carol Danvers. But it's shocking to me that they didn't do more with him. That he didn't show up at least in another movie. That they didn't do another like they should have done a sequel by now. But the fact that he just hasn't shown up in another movie is insane to me.
That's why when they say, like, quote unquote Avengers, but nobody else is coming, I'm like, bro, he's out there, She-Hulk's out there. You have like a couple, characters that are out there, but it's just, like I said, I'm just giving them the benefit of the doubt, like that they're actually building on solid concrete, and they're gonna make this thing happen now. So
yeah, in fairness, when she said the Avengers aren't coming, like she might not even be aware of Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe at some level. Moon Knight, another like great character that they kind of just created and left.
So I love that the after credit was a nice little thing. 14 months is a really long time that they spent as the new Avengers. So like maybe something, a series, a special. Disney forgot about the specials. Like we could do something like that. Like the way Guardians did a special is maybe explore that time or whatever, like with these new Avengers before they maybe go away and merge into whatever the fuck happens with them. Like Disney forgets about the specials, and I don't want them to completely forget about them because it was a nice way to still join your characters that you just got introduced to without having a whole fucking series and this big plot that maybe nobody liked. And still, you have a problem with it?
No, they didn't forget them. They flat out said we're not doing any more specials.
Oh, really? God damn it!
After the
Fucking nobody told me.
Werewolf by Night.
Yeah.
That was fun.
We were talking about that Werewolf by Night, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh, they said they're not going to do any more of these specials. I'm like, huh. Crazy.
Lame.
Well, that
feel
sucks. I quit.
because they realize they need to get their story structure straight. So every time
Get their shit on track first.
Yeah, like every time a
True.
movie comes out, when you notice, so the way my mind works when I watch these movies, you know, yes, it's a timeline and like where these movies are, you know, whether it be, you know, like this movie, 14 months, you know, later. So my mind goes to, I feel like they're trying to push everything forward as much as they can. You know, they're trying to strain it forward as much as they can because I feel my mind goes back to Black Panther 2 with the new T'Challa. Like he's young. He's very young. So I feel like they have to keep pushing the years up in certain movies as fast as they can. So when they do kind of get all these Avengers back together again, that T'Challa 2 is going to be old enough to be the new, you know, to challenge for the throne or whatever, and then he can come back and kind of start.
That character seems like he's aged out for a while. Like they can push it forward all they can, but like
Unless we're gonna have a 10-year-old Black Panther.
yeah,
How old is he? How old is he? And
he was like 2 or 3 or something like that.
no, he wasn't.
No, but when it
the
was
little kid.
Yeah,
He was young as hell.
he's just exaggerating.
He was like 7.
He's like 5 months old.
he's an embryo.
Literally just cut the umbilical cord.
They have vibranium. They could age him really quick.
But the dangers in that though is like as they progress forward timeline wise, it's like what's everyone else doing? Like right, Spider-Man. What's Spider-Man doing?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Like at this point, then Spider-Man should be totally established, which in his new city or whatever. Like, I mean, I guess his movie could always go back to right. Like they almost need to like start labeling the years so then when they come up with a movie we know like oh okay this is before, or like even the comic books do it like this took place before Superman number 352 or whatever. Like they almost need like this takes place before the end credit scene of Thunderbolts.
Do you think speaking of Spider-Man, do you think Spider-Man 4 will focus around like, you know, city stuff, like ground level things, street level things, or because did they hint at not MJ,
Gwen,
did they?
maybe they also hinted at the actual MJ, actual Mary Jane.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah,
it's a lot going on.
I mean, like, it would be cool for a Spider-Man movie to focus on the street level stuff, but it would also feel just so out of place at this point.
It's just a lot of things going on, but like we just mentioned, you know, like hasn't there been, you know, some other, you know, grand threat besides, you know, this? But this is just what I'm saying. Like I'm hoping with this new Doomsday, sorry.
Isn't it called Doomsday?
Dr. Doom, but more so, I just meant to say Dr. Doom character. But hopefully with this, we're gonna get that level of threat where it's gonna, like, where the call is gonna need damn near everybody.
Yeah.
Because Doom is
That cast for Doom
me,
is
he's
interesting.
Doom is eternal.
up here compared to all the other villains. Like I love
He's like some kind of Doctor Doom or something.
They're gonna
love
flash.
me some MF Doom.
They're gonna flash like Doctor Strange, who's been like, I've been taking care of so many fucking supervillains over these past 2 years. Like, thank God the Avengers are
Where have
forming
you guys
again.
been?
With his weird CGI third eye. I've been fighting this. I've been fighting that. Charlize Theron was in here for a little
Yeah,
bit. I don't know.
Ever some other people are off planet. He's off dimension.
Yeah.
Oh, how did you guys like the scene though? With
I have to pee really bad. Can we
Clean.
hold that thought? Hold that thought. Hold that thought.
Clean. For the movies, or for this particular movie, that the whole time from when we get introduced to the characters to how they escaped, which I like that
Yeah.
also well, you know, with them, like it's like they're working together but they're not working together.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, I don't know if I trust this person, and all like the comedy beats, you know, they were there because they were kind of like ragging on each other, whatnot. But how they left that place and when they left that place, when the Red Guardian came, when he was the limo driver and he got the inside information and he was, you know, driving through the desert, like they went through hell and back and they escaped. And then he comes in driving his limousine and he's like, wait, don't go into the... I was like, bro, that should make me like laugh out loud.
Oh,
Good comedic beats.
I had to take
Funny.
a piss at that moment.
Oh,
I was
damn.
walking out when I heard him coming. I'm like, okay, he saves the day. So what exactly happened in that scene?
They're
He showed
trying to stay low after like they captured Bob and it's who the hell is it? It's Walker, Ghost,
and
Elena. And they're like just staying low. Oh, there's something in the distance, and they
it's
just see
coming
it
towards
puttering
us.
around, and they're like, "Is that a limousine?" And then she's like, "Oh God, like a parent, that's like seeing by in high school."
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
And he's like, "Elena, it's me. Don't go in there." And she's like, "Oh, do you know this guy?"
He's
Nice.
He's in uniform and he's like legit trying to like warn her, like, don't go in there. I was sitting there like that is comedy. But then
Who hired him, by the way, to be Valentina's driver? The business is called Red Guardian Limousine. And
device. Plot
raise
device.
any flags.
But it took him so long to get out like the gag of it all, you know,
Yeah,
because
great.
you know
She'd
a
already been
limo
captured and
Yeah,
stuff. That's
captured and
funny.
they had escaped. But then when Bucky comes on the scene, like I love that whole
That was great.
scene
Dude,
with Bucky.
No, that wasn't Bucky. That was Winter Soldier.
I forget how badass he is sometimes. And I'm like,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
why anytime he pops up on the screen, I'm like, fuck, sit down and pay attention. It's Bucky time.
Yeah. And I think it's also
Bucky
great.
time.
It shows why, like, I'm glad he wasn't picked as the next Captain America, because I think he can operate much cooler as the Winter Soldier. When he stops trying to be a fucking senator or whatever they're choosing to do with him.
That whole thing was awkward, but like it was meant to be awkward, like him as a senator.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah,
enjoyed
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Good. So
Yeah,
good.
that was good.
Everyone's jokes. Like, obviously, the Red Guardian was like, you know, the funny man. So everyone bounces off of him. Although I do want to see like a separate series of the Winter Soldier and Red Guardian. That'd be kind of fun. They have like a little fun dynamic going on. But
He's so energetic. Like he's that one guy that's in the crew
fantastic.
that like if you guys, you know, went out and partied,
Yeah.
you got to have like a person like him because he's excited. Like he's that character that riles everybody.
He's
up.
the
Like,
hype guy about
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
dude.
but it's him. Like he's also the character who was, you know, going through, you know, like that. I don't know what you want to say, like that life crisis too, because he also wants to get back into kind of like doing the right thing.
Yeah.
The hero
So the
business.
focus on
Said it was
him and his
misconstrued.
daughter makes a lot of sense because, you know, like they want to get back into the heroism game and all that kind of things, and Spike Lee do the right thing.
Speaking of which, going back to the comparison of like how Brave New World's clunky and Thunderbolts felt right, with Brave New World, you had to see a shit ton of the movies to get all the references, and like to the point that they knew that they wrote themselves in the corner, and so they had to force in very inorganic one-liners, expositional one-liners. But is there any movie you would suggest people to recap or anything like that, other than the Black Widow movie?
The Black Widow movie and the series probably with Bucky and Cap. Yeah,
I love it. Minimal homework.
I mean, you even get away with one of the like Screen Rant's.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Come on.
Like catch up videos, like 20 minutes.
I bet he has them.
Yeah. So I do have something. Nobody has anything. Like I do have something. Nobody has anything. So when old girl got Bob, and she was doing her motherly nurture thing, and then, but just how everybody was with him in the beginning, like they kind of worked with him and kind of, while they were escaping, you kind of knew in the beginning, you're like, okay, these guys are like establishing like a kind of like an emotional tether to this guy.
Yeah.
So that's going to be used for later on, because this guy, he just woke up and he kind of really doesn't know like what happened. Do you guys take him as like how he like kind of quickly went from like a little to I'm a god, I'm not listening to you anymore?
I think that was explained in the movie, but it's just kind of sprinkled in here because same thing. I'm like, really? That was your we didn't really get like a full montage. You just had like, I believe in you, and then he did the stuff. But I think he kind of explains it when he says that before anyone else, or he knows that he has superpowers. He tells Yelena that he has his really good days where he feels invincible. So I think that's when he sort of leans into and unlocks the Sentry, and it's just all instinct. And then he also has his bad days, which is the Void, where he kills the first two people in that his death room, whatever flashback thing. So I think it's not him having to train for it. It's just actually needing to. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but to have somebody believe in him to unlock that full confidence. You know what I mean? Not a matter of training.
Yeah. That was one of those characters that, like, because I watched the trailers and follow along all the nerd news, it's like I knew Sentry was going to be in it. I knew something about Sentry. It would have been interesting, like many of these movies, where it's like if that was kept secret or something like that, like if we just saw Bob and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, shit, he's Sentry. Like, maybe that would have been better. But then, to your point, if I hadn't known that he was going to be Sentry, would maybe like that might have felt too quick. But the fact that I knew he was going to be Sentry, I think made it feel kind of just fine. It was fine.
Also, it seems like he also suffers from memory loss after he got back out of the void mode and whatever. Doesn't remember anything until, obviously the next time we see him is in that 14 months later, and his memories do come back to him, and he knows, like, this is going to be...
He knows he washed the dishes. That's for sure.
I like their exploration and playing with mental health, because I'm very familiar with when you go full manic, right? You feel invincible. Everything's all great. If you've dealt with it enough, that there's the opposite of that. You're going to have a real bad crash, a real bad come down. So he knows that if he goes Sentry mode, there is that equal and opposite action, which is a void. So he has yet to know how to control that aspect of it.
Yeah, true. So
by the way, Screen Rant does have a recap. Everything you need to know before watching Thunderbolts recap.
Were you going to say anything? Nice.
No.
I felt like I was going to say something, but like,
I did have
like rubbing off on everybody.
I did have a fun.
Much.
He was out of practice.
What I thought was a funny point earlier when you guys brought up Shang-Chi. Or Shang-Chi, however you pronounce it.
Nobody pronounces it like that.
I think it was his name we were tripped off. I'm sorry.
Usually on the Shang that people struggle with.
That was me.
Shang.
Would it not be hilarious though if like the ultimate climax of all of this, like they reference back to like it's his post credit scene from his first movie. Like, we've been setting this up since the 10 Rings became
Oh,
blah blah blah. I was like, if that doesn't happen, someone needs to be fired at fucking Disney, because that's, as much as people shit on that, like, you didn't even do anything with this post credit scene. Like, if they reference that directly at like fucking like Doom versus everyone or wherever it ends up going, like, we've been prepping this fucking
well, I
this shit.
remember.
Like,
I think even on our show, we all just assumed it was Galactus, right? I think that was the general assumption when they talked about like, oh, these rings are picking up some signal.
I always thought it was a multiversal thing
Oh,
So
because it was. Sorry,
I didn't necessarily think Galactus, but because of with the Eternals and where they were going, that I could see how you were, thinking like a celestial being. But I didn't, like, I thought that, but I didn't necessarily think that was like exactly what they were saying.
yeah, like, I didn't come to any
So
kind
I
of
was open
any
to
conclusion.
whatever.
'cause I thought they had announced. At that point they had already bought Fox and everything like that. So like,
Yeah, they got everybody, but
I think at that point, like we were saying before, is like them just sort of like testing the waters. Like, we have all these things in the burner, so it could be any one of those things. We'll let the fans come up with their theories, and everyone's right and everyone's wrong at the same time.
yeah. But I mean, obviously it can't be Galactus because that's all other universe stuff now,
Yeah,
right?
that's-
And like now they're
he's-
establishing it as that's all coming from a different universe. So
I don't know.
Though it would be funny if, like, we escaped Galactus in this dimension, and now he's still here in this other fucking dimension. And
possibly.
we have another Galactus. Well, I mean, see, okay,
Council
so
of Galactus.
because of old girl who's playing Silver Surfer in the Fantastic Four universe, which I don't mind because it's another universe.
You better
So therefore, in
us canceled
my
off
head, because we know that it does take place in another universe, that we could still possibly get our Norton Rad, like our version of Silver Surfer in a future movie, because that's somewhere else.
The Fantastic Four are going to show up in the MCU, and then somehow he's going to do like the same experiments that just like triggers our Galactus, our solar, like same mistakes.
be like, I can handle him this time, though.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
extra stretchy.
I think I know what I was going to say. Well, not really, but whatever. We were talking about the comedic beats of like Red Guardian and all the others, and we talked about this. I think pretty much one of the first things we said when we left the movie theater, because three of us saw it together.
What a piece of shit!
I didn't say that,
What a fucking asshole!
but
I'm not excited to run to the movie theater these days.
yeah, no,
That's
it's
true.
that's very true. No eye rolling moments.
Right.
That like it's sad, but that's like maybe the greatest thing I could say about an MCU movie right now is like great comedic beats. I didn't roll my eyes once, and I cried through half of it.
Oh man, that
It was a fun movie.
emotional.
Like, it was a fun movie. It's like, so when you watch the first Joker movie, I've talked to like a couple of my friends, just necessarily like what the Joker was going through. Like, I remember like a particular scene where he actually like took everything out the fridge and he went in the fridge, like there, and just closed the door and sat there. Like, there's
We all have those days.
yeah, like
fucking
there's
hot in California.
there's people out there who kind of like really relate to like the mental kind of strain that he was going through. So with this movie, like watching it, you're like seeing all these characters going through something, their individual stuff. But old girl was like, no, my stress is more than you guys. Fuck you guys. But
That was so funny though, because people do that
Yeah,
where shared misery.
All
So-
those characters were that much more relatable.
Yeah.
To your
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
yeah, like, it's just one of those things that like
We're gonna hug after
somebody
this?
watching this movie can probably point to any one of those characters and be like, yes, I kind of understand what you're going through.
Yeah.
Like, or somebody who did something bad in the past and now is trying to change their life. Or granted, you don't hope nobody killed anybody, but
Well,
but just the
Not gonna talk
emotional side of it, that they were going through. Like I can see a lot of people saying, like, yes, like I understand it. Like I kind of feel
The dark and Dark Avengers just refers to their mood, overall mood.
Well, like, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like Walker is probably still a little bit of like imposter syndrome. And like, yeah, it's just, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like Tony
Walking
Stark.
around with the taco shield.
Yeah. Tony Stark's awesome, but like, not relatable. Thor is a god, not relatable. Like,
so that's why people, like certain characters like a Spider-Man, because he deals with yes, he is a superhero, but he deals with the average everyday, scenario that people go through.
representation matters.
Right? Yeah. Big time.
More big foreheads in movies. Come on, let's go.
Oh, no, that's pushing it. That's
Jokes.
Good Lord.
Jokes. I'm going to say this. Jokes. How did you guys feel when Bob died and he became blackface? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Well, man, 3 seasons was good doing this show. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed dealing with the guys.
kidding.
I learned a lot from
I'm
this
kidding.
stuff.
I can't believe I haven't heard that joke before now.
yeah. I never even, because it was a stretch.
I'm proud of myself for not going there.
When he did, like turn into that guy, and it was like that scene where
someone right now is editing the fucking red lips.
right. It's me, Bob.
I'm just gonna pack my stuff up and go now.
But jokes, people, relax. But
For those of you that are just listening and not watching and have not listened to our show, Jermaine is black, so he can make that joke. Me, as the white guy on the show, did not make that joke, and I do not condone it.
Swear to God, somebody that I know was like, I didn't know Jermaine was black. I'm like, really?
really? And now you go doo-doo-doo. Knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. But when he was wrecking the city, everything went in my head because it's who I am. When he was kind of banishing everybody to like the
Jerking
shadow realm or whatever you want to say.
It's shame. That's what he calls shame room. That's what it was. Shame room.
Sorry.
Because I was just sitting there. There's a line from a movie that I like that it's like, he's like, oh, we about to fade to black. And I was just sitting there. I was like, is he really like murking these people when, like when his shadow, like his dark side, was really reaching people and you just saw them like vanish into like a shadow.
Again, they did it to the little girl first.
Yeah, that shit was
When
like, I was like, oh!
When it hit that little girl,
I was like, damn, no one's safe.
my jaw dropped. Yes, exactly. I was like, okay, Marvel, I see you, and I acknowledge you, and I love it. But because it was a little girl, I was like second guessing myself. I was like, no way, no way.
Like, I knew there was more to it, but I wasn't expecting the rooms.
Free therapy
But
sessions.
my jaw dropped though. My jaw dropped. She had just been saved and she was gone. I was like, damn.
So I think it was like all of lower New York that got affected. But do you think that like
Lower Uncton,
the Punisher had to deal with shit? Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, his room, Jesus.
everybody that was going through something like, where am I?
Everyone else was just like, father issues or something like that.
How would that work for
Simple
Daredevil?
problems.
He can't see anything.
Oh, well, this is the show.
Because it's the same thing. Like he's just in darkness.
He's just in a room with people screaming at him.
Speaking of jokes, once again, do you remember? Was it the Red Guardian where that big slab of like
God.
concrete came down?
Yes.
And then you had like the superhero moment where everybody came in.
Say it.
How funny
Say it.
in my mind? How funny would it have been? Like they just saved one person from the other side,
Me and Elva.
and then they push it, and then they push it down, and then somebody else was on the other side.
Me and Elva immediately lean next to each other and go, what if somebody else on the
I
other side?
know.
I was like, oh my God.
I was
That's careless of them.
I was sitting there because I was waiting for somebody to go like, my legs. What about my legs?
It just cuts to the shot of the other side, and the person's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
And then they, like right before it hits them, they fade into the shadow.
That's
God.
Like that would have been a good.
That's
That
how they
would've been
connect the
funny.
X-Men. It's actually Professor X, and that's how he loses use of his legs.
That would have been funny.
I'm glad you brought that up, though. That's what I was going to say earlier. And you touched on it, how like Red Guardian was that vehicle that they used to bring up like the
He's the
idea
hype
of,
man.
the idea of heroism and actually being heroes, because that is something that I think all of the MCU movies after all of these 15 years or whatever we've been doing it has not shown enough of like these heroes actually being heroes. And I get it. It's a movie. You're focusing on world ending events or whatever.
Yeah.
Like there's not a lot, but at the end of the day, these people are supposed to be heroes. And so it was cool and very well done to have that just brief moment of like, look, we can all go be heroes. And it was very quick. It started with him, and then they all had that moment of actually going in and save people. And then obviously with them becoming later, as we learned, the new Avengers, it's like that needed to happen. But I just thought that it was nice to see. It was cool, like especially for them because it was character development, but it was also like kind of good for the MCU.
It is good to see them. Yes, to have that troubled past, and you know what each individual character was going through, and then they have their moments. You know, when they're together, have a little bit of hype, but then they dismantle. You know, they're like, you know, no, woe is me. Like we can't really do this. You know, like it's us pretty much versus a god. But then when the city started to fall apart, like they immediately came back. Like they knew that, you know, they're like, if nobody else is going to be here, like it has to be us, regardless of, you know, if we can stand toe to toe with this person or not. And just them going up in that elevator, which I will say, I love me some like random elevator scene, and they didn't have that like, you know, that like, all right,
point.
guys, you know, like we're about to do this,
Elevator
you
music.
know. I was waiting for that. Shame on you, Marvel.
I'm sure there's a deleted scene.
No.
Waiting for the MC Mikey moment.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't have an elevator scene, but we had like a back of the truck scene, back of the van scene.
Yeah, we did.
She's like, yeah, so these are, you know, the widow bites, and the, you know, and I also have, then I have this, and then they're just comparing because they are passionate. It's like the nerd level passion about that stuff. So good. So we got
do like when they finally got to the top, Bill. Like you really saw them like give it their all. Like, you know, they knew they really had no chance, but it was just one of those things like there's nobody else coming. And with this guy, you know, granted, Bob, you know, being his first time, like nobody really knew the level of threat that he was. And when he was doing like his Jedi thing and just like his like his force field, you know, like nobody could, I mean, not necessarily he had a force field, but nobody could like touch him.
kind of, sort of, yeah.
Like it was just crazy.
Invincible, bulletproof, telekinetic.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Shadow Realm.
He had
All
the
the,
mental
You boil water.
telepathic. There you go.
Who did he-
telekinetic?
But when you
telepathic.
summon him, he
Mind bullets.
puts a -10 on your
And he had his
right
Neo.
most. Sorry, I'm card
had
game.
his
Sorry.
Neo moment.
telekinesis, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you. Who did he launch out into the middle of?
the Red Guardian.
It was
the
Red Guardian.
That-
Threw him out the window and then
I
pulled
was
him back.
like, no, he's not. And then he's like, yeah, you're right. No, I'm not.
Got you,
We need
bitch.
him for the
Jermaine
next
specifically
movie.
a wink.
We need him for the next movie. But I'm just letting you know that I could.
but I won't. But it maybe.
You know, his character, Bob's
'Cause he almost did
character,
that Batman shit, where, like where he drops you with the rope and then pulls you right back up. Tell me what I want to know.
as I've said before, I love world building and I love the exploration of what it would be to live in a world with superheroes. And I feel like they kind of touched on that with Bob and just that whole project of just like, oh, you're down and out, like come sign up for a medical study. We can maybe give you powers. And it does open in that question of just how many people, I mean, like in the real world, our world, allegedly.
I know. I love your specification of that.
You know, there's that desire to be rich, that desire to be famous or whatever. And it's like in a world with superheroes, like how many people focus on wanting powers maybe to the point of their own like mental health decline versus, you know, like I said, because people do that now where we have body dysmorphia with plastic surgery or the hustle culture where you got to do everything you can and work 90 hours a week to buy a stupid fucking car or something like that. In a world of superheroes, like there would probably be people that would absolutely jump at any I mean, just imagine the wellness community that exists on our social media now would be inundated with just like, you got to get your hands on this chemical and this crystal, and you can get superpowers or whatever like that. And people would probably be donating their life or spending their life savings on scams.
And there have been other movies that are maybe connected to like the bigger universes that have explored that too. I know like what's the name again? Valentina was sort of going down that route of like The Boys, which is she's creating superheroes and commercializing stuff. So to round this all up, if I may land the plane, it's the bigger villain that we've all learned that this movie has proven are corporations.
No, no.
Great. We're not going to get any sponsors. Thank you.
Yeah, no, corporations are great.
All right, cut it.
No,
Land it some other way.
I do want to add one
point,
thing.
good point.
Did you guys see Iman Vellani, Miss Marvel's letterbox review of this?
No. Uh-oh.
5 emotionally constipated misfits are forced into a trauma bonding under the watchful eye of a morally bankrupt authority figure. And hey, so this is the Breakfast Club in tactical gear. I live.
What's wrong with that?
I read that. I was like,
Still
that's
enjoyed
awesome.
it.
Yeah, I mean, she gave it like a 5 stars or something.
I
like
love
that.
it.
I mean, of course,
So-
Disney would fire her if she didn't. But
Right.
you want another movie?
You just got reference in Daredevil.
You want to fucking team up? Come on.
I do like, because of, these type of characters, I was kind of not necessarily shocked a little bit, but because, it's Marvel / Disney, but they were actually discussing like about like the serums that they took, like the super soldier serum. They're like, oh, what serum did you have? He's like, oh, I had the Soviet, one, so we're kind of the same. But then you flash forward to like a character, to Bob, AKA the Sentry, and you find out that he had like a troubled past, whatever, and all that stuff. And I do believe he had a line in the movie where he was like, I don't remember, like I was on meth or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
He said, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, I was very taken aback by the mess.
It was
See,
Really not
it was
vetting
his
these
it was
people.
his chicken era, his chicken suit era.
yeah.
He beats up who does he beat up?
Bucky.
Did he beat up
Yeah,
Bucky?
he beat the shit out
He's like, I'm sorry, I was on meth.
Yeah. So I was actually glad that they kind of like put it in there, because it just shows, to the level of like how kind of like bad this guy was really going through it, and they kind of didn't sugarcoat it, which I do hope moving forward, because you do have a lot of characters, and that go through things that, especially in the comics, when we had that era for like our generation, we had the like the DARE program, about drugs and all that stuff, but you had comics were hitting heavy issues, with drugs back in the day. So it's kind of good to see them kind of pushing that agenda, still, but at the point of, with all these characters that you can kind of come back from all that stuff, yes, but granted they're superheroes, but it's still good to see that they're implementing all that stuff in there.
Just makes it more real.
To that point, in an interview, Florence Pugh had even said that she was going through stuff, and she kind of took a moment and looked at the movie that she was making and the message that they were putting across. That sometimes you just need to reach out and ask for help, and it like helped her realize that she should do the same thing in her own situation. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick, I will say
Superhero.
this movie just I think reaffirms my view of what they should have done with Suicide Squad. Like, because this is essentially the Suicide Squad of the Marvel Universe, and all of these characters were introduced in previous movies, and I still wish that DC would have gone down that route with the Suicide Squad.
like there's some kind of Suicide Squad.
Yeah, but just the
Named
idea of
after
like,
a soccer team.
Is that's the one with that one bitch, right? Will Smith. Got him.
Jokes.
Nope.
wow, okay. So Thunderbolts.
Huzzah.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Huzzah.
I hope the MCU continues to pump out good stuff.
Don't fuck this up, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, that's the next one on the list. Good thoughts. Good thoughts, everybody.
High hopes.
High hopes.
Even
High
though,
hopes. That's what I'm
even though we
looking
don't,
for.
even though
High
we don't hope for anything around here.
It looks good.
Hope for nothing.
It looks good, but I don't know a whole lot. I did see a great, in the trailer they're showing Invisible Woman doing the like really straining hard to do the shield thing. I've seen so many comments that just like, I swear to God, if her nose bleeds and she passes out, I'm walking out of the theater, and I'm with it. I don't walk out of theaters, but I really hope they don't go down that route.
I was waiting for that little trickle though in the scene in the trailer where she's like,
yeah.
What do you think about
For those
them?
of us that have nosebleeds just because it's dry, stop appropriating
No, it's
nosebleed culture.
constant cocaine use. Did you guys see the recent Fantastic Four trailer?
yes.
What do you feel? The latest one. What did you feel?
I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, I don't want to say anything.
That's fine. I don't give a shit.
Obviously they introduced the Silver Surfer.
What?
A girl.
Not my Silver Surfer.
Not my
I know, fucking
Avengers.
hate
She's a silver skier.
But
alright.
they mentioned
It's a different universe.
Silver body surfer.
that what's her name?
Silver-
Susan Storm,
Silver
Yes.
bodyboarder.
right?
Yes.
That she's pregnant.
Oh.
So that feels like which I think like it could have left that out.
But what if
that's-
the baby doesn't have the invisible powers and she goes invisible and there's just a fucking jelly bean fetus?
So,
We should have ended this a long time ago.
So
The show, I mean, not the episode.
for those who know and are
Oh,
heavy with the Marvel comics, Sue Storm and Reed Richards' kid is like one of the most powerful
Yeah.
mutants ever, and just his
Isn't he
abilities
Kang?
alone. No.
Is an offspring of an offspring.
No.
Stretchy invisible slaps.
So
Franklin Richards is just a powerful, like omnipotent
Okay,
being.
reality bending.
Yeah.
yeah, he can do so.
So I was
there like six of them?
when they inferred that she's pregnant, or
Yeah, I
they
was
flat
like- I
out
was
said
like-
she's pregnant. I'm like, oh, where are they going with this?
An
I did
Omega,
the
an Omega
Xerxes.
level.
Omega.
I was waiting for it.
What level is it? Omega.
So that I'm kind of
Referencing
excited
Bad
for.
Batch.
Yeah, but I
I'm
don't think they
kinda
should have.
excited for that.
I don't think it should have been in the trailer though. It feels like such an important plot point that could have been left out.
No,
But
because now it means the entire nerd culture is going to talk about it for the next two months.
Be old.
The Nolds. The Nolds.
Well, that being said, I hope there's more surprises in the movie.
Didn't
I'm
you
sure there
watch
will be.
Rise of the Silver Surfer? They showed you everything. So now we just saw everything. We saw the whole movie already. It was good. Fantastic.
So you know,
I give it a 4 out of 5.
Galactus' whole thing, right? Like he has to eat worlds to sustain
Yeah, he's
himself.
that big angry cloud, right?
Yeah. like
With parallax.
I'm really like, oh,
Is that medicine?
No.
he's gonna eat little baby Richards. And then
Little baby dicks.
and then they have to leave the universe because they're so upset.
Yeah, literally just.
He's like, oh, that was a spicy meatball. Then time to move on.
Oh,
And she's just like, whoo, that's a medical bill I don't got to pay.
that just sparked the most randomest thing from this Thunderbolts movie.
God damn it.
It's like
Disney and Marvel,
you do the pimento out of olives. I'm sorry.
you freaking missed your chance. When they were in the Shadow Realm and they were doing all that stuff, and that chicken with the sign, I was waiting for my Family Guy scene. I was waiting for somebody to get into a heavy scuffle with the chicken just for like a brief little moment.
And then
Yeah.
next like 5 movies, they just pop
Yeah,
in through.
He's back.
Longer.
Huh?
They've reached the reality barrier again.
Yeah.
They're becoming increasingly violent as they come through.
That's the next Doctor Strange movie is him and like America Chavez are both like chasing down the chicken fight. Love it. That's
new
fine. They own
Avengers.
Fox, right? So they could do it.
Because you got the new
a
title,
series.
The New Avengers.
Yeah. In fact, it just goes beyond MCU movies. Just the next Fox movie, the next Predator movie.
Intro Howard the Duck, and then
Yeah,
he fights
yeah.
the chicken.
Yeah, perfect.
I did it.
Great.
Oh man, that's a lot. Watch the movie. We all really
Yeah.
liked it for all the reasons above.
Before we gotta
that's
do
a place
what
to
else?
land
What
it.
else? No, land the
Oh,
topic.
oh, yeah,
But we
yeah.
gotta do anybody have anything else to add to this week's?
You guys went to Japan. You want to
Wait,
talk
wait,
about
hold
it?
on, hold on.
Oh, no, we got an episode. For
I got
we
a few
do
things to
episode.
say.
The Rotten Tomato. I mean, do you guys want to hear?
It's
that?
like up there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's at 88% critics.
Nice.
94%.
Good. Hell yeah.
Popcorn
people.
meter.
Love
Yeah.
it. People like it.
I was like,
I
huh.
like it. I like it.
Yeah.
It was like universally accepted.
I also forgot that one of the trailers for Thunderbolts was basically kind of poking fun at Scorsese, saying that superhero movies aren't cinema,
Oh,
and it was like absolute cinema. Yeah, fantastic.
Along the lines of Marvel, though, I haven't been reading Marvel comics in forever, but I did see a headline that I had to look into. So I guess they're doing an Aliens Avengers crossover, Aliens versus Avengers, and then third issue just came out where Mr. Sinister is using a T-shirt cannon to shoot face huggers at people.
I watched the video recap of those books as they're coming out, and yeah, it's fucking wild.
It's a gun that shoots face huggers, which apparently was a reference to an old Punisher issue where he used a gun that shot swords. But I think it's awesome that it's literally a T-shirt cannon shooting face huggers. It's the greatest thing in the world. I love it.
With all these crossovers, though, but yes, pay attention to all these aliens and Predator crossovers. But man, that Wolverine and Predator,
Oh yeah, you've done, yeah.
that was something.
I still need to look into that.
It's Bat in the Sun.
No,
No, they actually did a comic.
The actual comic.
Oh,
Yeah,
A little
That's
series.
actually like in canon with like what was going on with Wolverine and how long he's been alive, and like how he has like now where he is now, like with his memory being wiped, like he forgot that he's faced this thing so many other times. But it's a very interesting story.
Nice.
Like it's I don't remember if it was like 4 issues or 5 or 6, something like that, but it was
I
interesting.
think it was a 5-issue arc.
Yeah, that was really good.
latest types.
real quick, video game. I got to shout out Claire Obscure Expedition 33. It's the greatest game in the world. It just came out. Small team out of France. Former Ubisoft people. Small team. AA development, not AAA development. Highest rated game on Metacritic of all time. I think its soundtrack is #1 on the Billboard charts for classical music. It's an old school turn-based RPG that probably would have never JRPG.
Oy.
That probably would have never been made had a AAA studio tried to make it, because there's no monetization to it. They're only charging $50 versus like the 80 or 100. Shout out to GTA 6 that's going to charge $100 for the game.
JRPG, that's Japanese role playing game, right?
Yeah.
So ARPG is American style, I guess.
ARPG is action RPG. So that's
Action
like
RPG.
Diablo,
Okay.
more hack slash, not like turn based.
And so they classify this as JRPG because it's in that style of the Japanese.
yeah, it feels very much like playing a Final Fantasy game without the overly heady, hard to follow, weird exposition. Like the characters' conversations are actually make sense.
Yeah, I've seen you. I've walked you by and I've seen you playing that thing. It looks amazing.
It looks amazing.
Like graphically,
They
just
use
looks
it's the
awesome.
Unreal Engine, and then for the character creation, they use the Unreal MetaHuman creation, which I think after seeing this, it's like I could see. I'm excited for it because it does allow smaller teams to make games that look great and the characters look great. But also, I'm a little worried that every game is going to end up kind of looking the same. Like all the characters are going to look the same. Movement. I think it was a team of 30, but I know they did bring in people for localization. Most teams do, and I think they brought in people for animation. But the original team was 30 people that just put together this amazing. It plays really well. The world is cool. The story is amazing. I just finished Act 2, which I thought was like the end because it was like a big cinematic, and then it was like, nope, there's a whole lot more to explore, and the world just like shifted in the way the story is being told. Combat is turn based, so if you're not a big fan of turn based RPGs, it does get dull, I guess, for some people. I don't mind it because I don't really like combat. Most of the combat though is really reliant on you dodging. So every attack that the bad guys make, like you have to dodge or parry, and there's different ways to dodge. There's 4 different buttons you can push, and you have to be mindful of which ones you're supposed to push. And I suck at timing games, and so far I've been able to do this. There's been a couple bosses that I've been like, oh fuck, got to do it again. Like I can't miss this dodge. Like blah blah blah. but it's yeah, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've played a game that I felt was like just pure art. I think. I mean, the president of France congratulated this team for making like one of the greatest games of all time. I think it'll probably be Game of the Year for sure. So if you have Steam or PlayStation, I think it's on Game Pass also. If you have Xbox, check out Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Get it before the tariffs make the price
Yeah,
grow,
yeah.
go up. Sorry. What?
You're hyped.
I ain't got shit. All the Star Wars stuff that's come out over the last 3 weeks. I'll wrap that up in a separate video.
Oh, I expect us to do an episode on Andor as soon as that series ends. Because good lord, season 2, episode 8 is in the top 10 greatest TV episodes of all time.
I gotta catch up.
6, 3, 6.
That's what they say.
That's the 3 that just
So there's
7,
already,
8, 9 dropped this week.
Okay, I think I'm up to 5.
My stomach abs versus any other abs. My abs hurt from
penis
the
abs.
tenseness.
My pee abs are
Oh,
flexing
really?
really hard right now.
Oh yeah. At one point I was like, breathe. Oh, my abs. Like that show, if anything, is just masterclass on like how to make a tense episode. How to spend 30 minutes of showing shit going down and everyone moving like chess pieces moving along in a crowd and you're just like, oh, I came.
Jay.
Where's my button?
I've been back in my animation kick. Anime. I finished Pantheon.
Oh, I like 2 episodes.
Which
left.
I
That was such a
really-
good fucking.
Really like the series. Like it's written very well. It's one of those series. Like it's not like high octane like action. It's you're following these characters going through this thing in this kind of like new era of this world, but it's a very good series. What is it, like 3 seasons
I think it's just 2.
or 2 seasons? But that ending, I was not expecting it to end like that.
I gotta catch up.
Not saying that it was a bad ending. I was just like, whoa, that's kind of like heavy, like deep.
That series hit me hard because I know because the whole idea is uploaded intelligence living beyond our bodies.
Like
And
almost Matrix-esque.
yeah, and
Reboot-esque.
I know that there is a big chunk of the elite and the smart, brainy people in this world that are actively looking for that. Literally that, the uploaded intelligence, the idea of living beyond our bodies and in the
Like you
cloud.
could download it, like your brain, like they would seriously like reverse 3D print, like they're scanning your brain, but they're actually eating your brain at the same time while you scan, and so your consciousness gets uploaded into the system.
Yeah.
That show with Robbie Amell did a little bit of that.
Yeah, like it's kind of a crazy thing, but because it's animated, you can kind of get away with a lot of things. But really good series. But like I said, the ending really shocked me because of where they went with it. But I liked it. I also finished before I left to go to Japan. I finished the Devil May Cry series. Really like that series. It was a fun series. I'm interested to see where it goes next. They better pick it back up and tell us like we automatically got like season 2 and 3 in the works. So big fan of Dante, how his character is. Like I think they kind of nail him, and I forget the voice actor that played him, but it's the same guy from Bleach and from Power Rangers, whatever his name is.
Oh, is it Johnny Young Bosch?
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. And then I finished Moonrise. It's another anime that's on Netflix that was, don't remember if it's written, but the characters are, the concept for the characters were done by the guy who did the Full Metal Alchemist. If you guys know what Full Metal Alchemist is.
Heard the name.
It was a great series, which I do like Brotherhood, but Moonrise was confusing as hell. And
I've seen that pop up in my feed too. Like, you might enjoy this, but now that you said that, I'm not gonna watch it.
and I'm one of those like I didn't even have this on me when I watched when I watched the series, and I don't remember. Like I think it's maybe 2 seasons. I don't remember if it was 3, but it was like two seasons. And I'm sitting there watching it. It grabbed me immediately because of how the first little battle took place. Like you're immediately tossed into this battle. Like these characters are on a train and they're kind of like jumping around everywhere. Like their capes is flapping and they almost have like this double, triple jump, thing that's like equipped with the cape, and they can like, because it's made, I guess, by the same guy that did the Alchemist, like they have weapons that can like there's this metal that it exists in this world, and they can transform it to certain things. Like they can have a handgun, that they can have like a rifle and everything. But that first battle grabbed me immediately. I'm like, man, I'm gonna watch this whole series. As it went forward, because this battle between like Earth and the Moon, and you have these people that live on the moon, but it's one of those things where it got confusing because everybody's like agenda started to kind of like blur lines of, I'm like, well, if you guys are fighting for this, but now you guys are fighting for this, and then something else happened, and then now you guys got to kind of work together. But I'm like, I thought you guys were enemies. When they kind of introduce new elements that existed outside, like it gets confusing. And then they had like another AI thing that was coming in. I'm like, who is this now? So I legit had to watch somebody break it down, and I was just
One of those series.
I hate and love some of those series.
But I was glad because even though he was breaking it down, he was like, if you've come to my video, you were probably confused about this. So was I. And he breaks it down and he's like, this is my take. He's like, you don't have to, get this, or you don't have to take my word on like what I took from it. He's like, this is what I took from it. You could go in any direction, to say how you viewed it, but he's like, this is just what I took, and this is my understanding. But he's still not saying that he's right. So it was just one of those series. It was a fun series, but it was kind of confusing. So
I love convoluted stories. Maybe I'll watch it.
I definitely want to hop on the animation train. There's a few I have on my list.
There's so fucking much now, man. Like every time I pop open
Won't touch it.
an app, any of the streaming apps,
'Cause you're
like
trash.
they have fucking a line of anime, and I'm like, what the fuck
am
is
garbage.
that? What is
Yeah.
that? What is that? Okay,
Yeah, I want to be like thoughtful about my picks. I still want to dive into Lazarus,
Yeah, that's
the
the
one from the
next one.
Cowboy Bebop guy. Like that looks cool, but yeah, there's a lot to it.
Can't do it. That's why I stick
and
with
then
movies.
the new Gundam.
Yeah,
one
Gundam X. That's the name, right? GU
I believe the one that's
X.
the one that's created by the Evangelion.
Yeah,
Yeah, like I gotta get into all that stuff. Like,
there's
it's
literally
next on
like
my
6
list.
U's in the name. I'm not joking.
I obviously I stick with movies because it's just easy, bite-sized stuff that's Isaac proof. Sinners, like that's one of the big movies that I saw that was amazing. What?
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
Think I'm gonna spoil it?
Yes.
Yeah.
How do you think I function on these things?
I don't like.
First off, you had your moment. Shut up. Okay, let me just end this goddamn episode. The piece so fucking bad.
Oh, go
okay.
for it.
Sinners. I just want to say, I want to give it its props that it's an amazing movie and what it does and where it goes and how it's all put together. It's a masterclass. I'm happy and ecstatic that Coogler made this thing and had like the director's cut, like his final cut. Like he got to make the thing he wanted to make, and it shows. The passion shows. The music in it is absolutely fucking amazing.
Awesome.
I didn't know it had great music. I didn't know Coogler directed it. Fucking asshole. Spoilers.
This dude was a baller, dude. The deal he made with WB was absolutely amazing. But speaking of Thunderbolts kicked out Sinners out of the IMAX, but
They're bringing it back. Yeah.
WB heard, so they're bringing it right back in select IMAX theaters from May 15th to May 21st.
Oh, sweet.
So you have to fucking see. It's
Yeah, I wanna go
the
see
way
it.
to see it is in IMAX.
Yeah, you got to go watch it. Even if not IMAX,
an
you just got to go watch it
experience.
in theater. You just have to go watch
Absolute
it in theater.
experience,
Yeah.
dude. Like we saw all these other movies and stuff like that. You're like, oh, it's cool. We can. This was like,
I think it is. I think
fucking
there
crazy.
there is a point to supporting movies that aren't nostalgia, aren't reboots, aren't part of the yard. Like I think at this point, anytime a good movie comes out that is not one of those, that we should probably go see
Episode
it.
might be like 2
Yeah.
hours long. I'm sorry. So
I
sorry.
need a pee bucket in here.
I forgot. You're never gonna go pee after this. No, I'm just kidding. So anyways, okay. Black Mirror, watched it, loved it, love those type of series. But these anthology series, what is happening with the Predator right now? I don't
Oh, yeah.
care.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody says online. I have been waiting years for them to dive deep into like the culture of the Predator. Like I would watch a movie with no humans at all.
Yeah.
I don't care if the Predators had their own fucking language or whatever, but
No humans, no Vaseline, nothing.
no, nothing. But I don't care what they say about the characters' look. None of that.
The child predator.
Yeah. Which pun intended. Bazinga. Bazinga. But it's like
Sure, with his face on it.
if you know Predator, and especially with this movie, you know,
Personally,
Badlands and all that kind of things, like you know, there's different species, you know, there's different classes and all that kind of stuff. So there's gonna be different looks, and he's pretty young. But when the trailer dropped, like especially with the anthology, you know, the animated one and all that stuff, like I love where they're going with that because I love all that stuff, you know, love Sex and Robots, you know, Black Mirror, yada yada yada, the Star Wars Visions, anyways, but this new Star Wars, this new Predator movie,
Tell me more.
just what they showed me right now with this world, and like how they had like almost like that 300 moment where that one Predator like killed that Predator and threw him off, like and their swords and just this world, and the chick who's supposed to be like a Wayland like robot and all
Yeah,
that stuff.
Elle Fanning.
I've never been this excited in a
He
long
hasn't.
time.
So
You
let-
tell
let
me.
me-
This is the
let
most
me-
animated I've seen
let me-
you on
let
this
me-
podcast.
He hasn't.
Because it's like we've been getting these Predator movies for so long, and it's just in my mind, like how my mind works. Like I'm like, I know these guys have like a civilization,
Yeah.
you know, they have a culture, but I love what they've been, you know, giving us. But the reason why I'm excited because I have hope because it's made by the same guy who gave us Prey.
yeah.
So I'm praying
Ah,
that this
With an
movie is beyond solid and it's epic because
Well, he's giving it beyond solid.
Double flusher.
I need this movie to be beyond whelmed because I want this saga to continue because like when we got like the Alien versus Predator, like that concept to me was I was with it. Execution kind of fell off towards the third movie, but this one I'm hearing that there's whispers that there are
3.
things that are going to set up another
well,
AVP.
I want to jump in because obviously, yeah, we saw in the trailer that Elle Fanning's character is a Wayland android.
Yeah.
And then, but when she says like you're hunting something that you cannot kill, and they just show kind of the shadow. Some people are saying like that very well could be. I don't know if you remember the toy line of Aliens. There was the gorilla alien, and some people were like even comparing like the silhouette of the toy to that silhouette, and some people were saying like we could be getting an alien that's not a human alien, right? Because the facehuggers, at least in the toy lines, I don't know if they ever really touched on in any of the official canon stuff other than maybe comic books. The facehuggers can infect other creatures. Well, no, Alien 3 did the dog.
They did the
Yeah.
dog.
Yeah, Alien 3 did the
Yeah.
dog. So
Anything.
he very well might be facing a xenomorph that took over something else, like a large
Exactly.
creature. So I think we might be getting a shadow
Yes.
AVP at this point.
Didn't they do an Alien that it came out of a predator?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in one of the AVPs.
Because it was the AVP. It was at the end of the first one that you found out that you knew one of them was infected, but when the ship took off. But anyway, I still love when they show like the skulls and all. You're never gonna go pee. I still love when they show all the skulls.
I'll hold it for you.
And like everybody has like their own idea of like where these skulls came from, and there's one from
Just intentionally slow down your speech
the
right now.
Independence Day movie. But anyways, yes.
When does it come out, by the way?
Oh,
Badlands?
I have no idea. But it's this year. But I'm just very excited for this Predator because I love me some Predators. Anyways,
Great.
I'm
Okay.
done.
Same Hive time, same Hive channel. Go pee, Isaac.
Yeah. Don't forget to follow us on social media
support your
at the
own
Hype
membership.
Attack on
Yeah.
Instagram and TikTok. And
Continue
if
the
you haven't done so
conversation.
already, you video. We have full video fucking episodes. We're
Yeah,
back.
you
We're
watch us.
Rusty. And then join the conversation.
Join the conversation. Comment, like, DM, send a pigeon. I don't give a shit.
Same Hype Time.
I'll
Same
respond.
Same Hype
Hype
channel. Woo, Hype Taxi.
Oh, no, I'm kidding.